Is it working yet? Oh, there we go. Welcome to the 2025 final presentation of the livestock units of the Student Managed Farm powered by New Holland. My name is JC Best. I'm from Carmen, Manitoba, and I will be the GM of the Purebred beef unit for the next academic year. I would like to quickly point out that you can scan the QR code on the screen for a digital copy of the booklet. Here at Lakeland College, we acknowledge that the land we gather on is the traditional homeland, hunting, and ceremonial gathering places of the First Nations, Métis, and Inuit. The Plains Cree, Woodland Cree, Saulteaux, Blackfoot, Métis, Dene, Nakota Sioux people have practiced their culture and languages on Treaty 6 and Métis District 12 for generations and were the original caretakers of this land. Many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people call this land home today and have done so for millennia. We would like to acknowledge the history we have created together on this land and to be thankful for the opportunity to walk together side by side in friendship, learning from our past, and promoting positive relationships for the past, present, and future.
There are a few people at this time in the audience that I would like to introduce at this time. Please stand, or please wave once I introduce you. Adam Waterman, Chair, Lakeland College Board of Governors. Dr. Alice Wainwright Stewart, President and CEO. Tricia McCower, Lakeland College Board of Governors. Todd Sumner, Vice President, Academic and Research. James Smith, Chief Financial Officer. Kent Hummel, Vice President, People and Cultural Services. Ken Wasmuth, donor to Lakeland College. Tracy Quinton, Dean of Agricultural Sciences. Darla Stefanik, Associate Dean of Agricultural Sciences. And Brianna Bellwood, Chair of Agricultural Sciences.
There are a number of industry representatives who have joined us in the theater and online today. Welcome. We appreciate your support not only today, but for our students and programs throughout the year. Welcome to friends and families who have joined us online.
Hello, I am Naomi Bertinga. I come from the small town of Belmont, Ontario, and I have the honor of being the 2025 to 2026 Dairy General Manager. A few housekeeping rules for today. You will find the bathrooms out to the left. Please turn off your phones or put them on silent so you do not interrupt the presentations. In case of emergency, there are emergency exits at both the top and the bottom of the stairs. The muster point is across College Drive in the parking lot north of Alumni Hall. There will be time for questions after each presentation, but in the interest of time, we have limited questions to 3 per unit. If you have any more questions, feel free to ask the students during the intermission or after the presentations are over. We are monitoring the YouTube stream. If you are watching online and have questions, post them in the chat. We'll start the presentations today with a report from the Roundup Committee.
Good afternoon, my name is Peyton Vert. I'm from Bentley, Alberta, and I'm this year's Roundup Committee Chair. Our committee this year is made up of 8 amazing members from Equine, Dairy, Extensive Grazing, Purebred, and Commercial. I would like to thank Denise Martin, Debbie Maddox, and Tricia Mecker for all their help to put on our sale this year.
Hello, my name is Harold Halmas. I'm from Bard, Alberta, and I'm this year's Dairy Coordinator for the Roundup Committee. Back in October, we set out to make a list of goals to have completed before the end of the year. First, we wanted to spread out our workload and make so we could have equal participation from each group team member. We also wanted to make keep strong team dynamics and create better collaboration between units. Another big goal we had was to set timelines and actually stick to them to keep everything moving and to adhere to our sale date. Lastly, we wanted to look into alternate advertising ideas to try and reach people in different ways. Thanks to all the effort put in from all the team members, we were able to reach all of these goals.
Hello, my name is Wade Hughey, and I am this year's Extensive Grazing Roundup Coordinator. Students from all livestock SMF teams worked together to ensure the sale ran smoothly. The indoor equine show pen, as well as the outdoor beef feature pen, allowed us to showcase our animals in an efficient and effective way. We also added a fifth bleacher to the arena floor that allowed for more seating. With this, we found that the seats closest to the auction block were mostly empty. We also set record high sale averages due to the high price of beef.
Hi, I'm Marion Bond from Ottawa, Ontario, and I'm this year's Equine Roundup representative. Behind me on the screen, you will see a breakdown of the different advertisement methods we've used throughout the year. We first began by hanging posters, which featured last year's top-selling animals. We later then updated these posters to showcase this year's featured animals. Additionally, we had designed and printed a large billboard for display alongside Highway 16 and LCP 21. Throughout the year, we focused on developing our catalog, later distributing copies around the Vermilion area, and sending them to previous buyers and those who expressed interest in our sale. Beyond traditional methods, we explored alternative advertisement opportunities, which included sending out an alumni email encouraging former students to support the school beyond their education. We secured 30 radio spots on Hot Country 95.9 radio station and featured an ad in the Crops and Cattle newspaper, which reached the Turtleford and surrounding areas. We believe that through these alternative advertisement opportunities, we were able to increase our reach and overall exposure to the Roundup sale.
Hello, my name is Samantha Bracken. I'm from Calgary, Alberta, and I'm one of this year's equine representatives. Due to our team choosing to exercise alternative advertisement methods, we have conducted a survey to better understand the efficacy of our efforts. 39% of respondents heard about our sale through word of mouth, 28% through social media, 22% through the radio or the newspaper ad, and 12% through mailed catalogs. Rimbey, Alberta was the furthest place reached through word of mouth at 331 kilometers away, and our furthest buyer was from Southampton, Nova Scotia.
My name is Shayna Benson. I'm from Winnipegosis, Manitoba, and I'm this year's Commercial Unit Roundup Coordinator. This year, we sold 14 purebred yearling Angus bulls, 5 purebred heifers, 4 lots of commercial replacement heifers, or 13 head, 1 pen of extensive bred heifers, or 3 head, 2 AQHA mares, 1 AQHA gelding, 1 donation saddle, for a total of 28 lots, or 38 head.
This year, we had the opportunity to add to a very special scholarship fund through the donation of a saddle donated by Steve Dick. The proceeds of the saddle will go towards the Tiana Frisian Memorial Scholarship Fund. Tiana was a student here at Lakeland College and as a result of a tragic accident, passed away in 2023. This scholarship was created to help preserve Tiana's legacy here at Lakeland College. On behalf of all of the units, thank you to Steve Dick for the donation of the saddle, as well as all ticket buyers and donors.
My name is Dylan Fry. I'm from Oxbow, Saskatchewan, and I'm one of the Roundup coordinators for the Purebred unit. This year, we had an excellent total sale gross, as the Purebred unit grossed $136,000, the commercial unit grossed $50,900, the extensive grazing unit grossed $15,000, and the equine unit grossed $21,000 for a total sale gross of $222,900.
In total, this year, we saved just over $2,500 from the amount we were budgeted last year. As you can see on the table behind me, we were over budget in our food for the sale as well as our advertisement. Food was over budget, mostly due to inflation, and we had lots of leftover food, so we recommend next year order less. Our advertising was over budget as we bought a large highway sign, but we do not see years to come having to remake the sign, just tailor it to the certain year. We also saved money in picturing due to units picturing themselves or paying for this separately. DLMS was under budget as our videoing expense was separate.
My name is Keaton Brandon. I'm from Bard, Alberta, and I'm one of this year's Roundup coordinators for the Purebred unit. This year's team is leaving next year's unit with a budget of $15,510. Some notable changes include $300 more for advertising, $840 more for picturing, and $1,000 less for DLMS. We came up with these changes based on our experience with this year's budget. Some recommendations for next year's team would be to put windbreakers behind the bleachers on sale day to create a better atmosphere, be open to include all SMF units, as well, keep sales start time at 3 p.m., and look into using one photographer for all units to provide more consistency.
At this time, I would like to thank all of our 2025 Roundup buyers. As you can see, many of our customers were repeat from previous years, as the asterisk on the screen. We will now like to answer any questions. The question was asking about our advertisement. I will hand this over to Samantha.
So the posters we created this year, we kind of had creative control over. I was the one to create the posters, and we used last year's top sellers because we hadn't pictured our animals yet. So next year, it's kind of up to the committee. Yeah.
Any other questions? Yes? So the question was regarding the units that are involved in the sale. I am going to hand this question over to Harold.
So when we were talking about adding different SMF units to the sale, it was more adding dairy animals to the sale, which we had discussed at the beginning of the year. But due to turn of events, we didn't join this sale with animals, and we're hoping that in the future years we can actually do this. Does this answer your question?
Any other questions?
How do you account for the purchase or the
This question was regarding our cost in our budget of our animals.
So regarding the cost of the animals in our budget, each individual unit will do their own break-even. So their unit knows what their cost of that animal was, so it doesn't directly affect our Roundup sale. Does this answer your question?
Thank you to the Roundup Committee for their report. At this time, I'd like to invite the Purebred unit up to the stage for their presentation.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Purebred Unit's final presentation. My name is Shannon Lee Faincannell. I am from New Norway, Alberta, and I am the General Manager for the 2024-25 Purebred Unit. Standing behind me is my amazing unit consisting of 17 individuals from Alberta, Saskatchewan, and British Columbia. The vision of our herd is to raise functional, high-quality cattle to suit the needs of both purebred and commercial producers while advancing student learning and management. In the beginning of September, we chose 4 short-term goals and 3 long-term goals for our unit this year. Our short-term goals included being more connected with the first years in the second semester, advertising the Roundup sale using alternative methods, using clear and effective communication, and attending more industry-related events. In the beginning of January, we planned to socialize with the first years at Spurs. We played pool and answered any questions they had for us about SMF. This year, we advertised the Roundup sale by cold calling buyers, visiting the auction marts, and through social media exposure. We've used clear and effective communication all throughout the year during our meetings and through any messages via Teams. This year, we attended Farm Fair International and the Heartland Cattlemen's Classic, where we marketed our sale cattle and gained more exposure for the unit. We also attended Intermission, where we talked to other producers and potential customers. Our long-term goals are to produce a uniform herd with high-performing cattle, leave good recommendations for next year's unit, and increase our industry and sale contacts. This year, the unit called hard on feed, udders, and overall structure. We purchased 3 new bred cows, a new herd bull, AI semen, and received embryo and semen donations. This will all help enhance our herd's genetic performance. We believe that the recommendations our unit has come up with to leave for next year's unit will set them up for a successful year. This year, we had 4 new buyers purchase at the Roundup sale, and we have all gained a lot of new industry contacts through going to shows and talking to people within the industry. These are the recommendations that last year's unit left with us. We were able to purchase new breeding animals, but not until January due to the competitive market of breeding animals this year. We were not able to have team bonding once a month, but we are a very busy unit, so we did spend a lot of time working together this year. We did start our proposal discussion to buy breeding animals earlier than last year as we started in October. This year we sold 14 bulls and 4 heifers in the Roundup sale, whereas last year they sold 1 less bull but still the same amount of heifers. And we have created subcommittees all throughout the year to deal with things such as buying a new herd bull, planning out our proposal to buy breeding animals, and planning out our breeding season. These are the recommendations that our unit has come up with to leave for next year's unit. We encourage them to do team bonding once a month, to keep open communication within their unit, the other SMF units, farm staff, and any clubs they're closely involved with, to register the calves in April, to attend Farm Fair and Heartland Cattlemen's Classic again, to market the sale animals and gain more exposure for the unit, to continue to grow the herd by selecting traits that will improve the quality of them and strengthen them, and lastly, to pair more experienced people with less experienced people during group work.
Hello, my name is Hannah Ramus. I'm from Leask, Saskatchewan, and I'm one of this year's health and treatment coordinators. I'm going to briefly talk to you about our team bonding that we had this year. As mentioned previously, we sadly weren't able to meet our goal of having team bonding once a month, though we did have 3 successful team bonding activities. These being a dodgeball game in the gym, escape rooms in Lloyd, as well as a steak night and bowling here in Vermilion.
My name is Dylan Fry. I'm from Oxbow, Saskatchewan, and I'm one of this year's marketing and Roundup coordinators. Throughout the year, our team has conducted a SWOT analysis to determine our strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats within our herd and as a unit. Our strengths include our large team size, and with that large team size comes a variety of experience and knowledge, as well as being able to use the staff here at the college and farm team as mentors along our journey. Our weaknesses include having a small herd size, varying management consistencies from year to year, and having our high open rate. But with our high open rate, gives us the opportunity to buy new genetics to bring into our herd. We get to learn from these experiences, as well as build new industry connections. Our threats include the possibility of a disease outbreak at any time, being in an extremely competitive industry, and inflation in our economy.
My name is Lane Cuthbertson, and I'm from Valley, Alberta, and I'm one of this year's show team coordinators. So this year we had the very fortunate opportunity to attend Farm Fair International. This cost us $1,800 all in all, and this included our hotels, transportation, as well as entry fees. This was a great experience for our unit as it allowed us to really talk to our industry contacts. Then we attended the Heartland's Cattlemen's Classic. This cost us $1,220 once again, including our hotels, travel, and entry fees, and this was a really great opportunity for our unit to advertise for our Roundup sale. We had $215 worth of miscellaneous expense, totaling up to $3,235, and this is roughly $2,000 under budget due to the fact that we did not attend Intermission this year with livestock.
Hello, my name is Tyler Skills. I'm from Rimby, Alberta. I'm one of this year's nutrition coordinators. This year we put our sale bulls on a pretty intensive ration to get them to 1,300 pounds, which our team agreed was going to be our target sale day weight. We had to use a variety of ingredients this year due to some complications with our silage, such as our barley silage having high levels of nitrates and our corn in the bag having low levels of mycotoxins. Our sale bulls were on 46.5 pounds per head per day. This cost us just under $5. Our replacement heifers were on 2 rations this year. The first one was a maintenance ration, which consisted of just over 34 pounds per head per day. This cost us just under $1. At the end of the year, they went on a flush ration before breeding, and this consisted of just over 46 pounds per head per day, and this cost us just under $2.
Hello, my name is Hannah Ames from Lakeland, Saskatchewan, and I'm also one of this year's nutrition coordinators. Our cows were on aftermath grazing until December 18th. On December 19th, they were put on a pre-calving ration. They're getting 66 pounds per head per day, at a total cost being $1.64. Once calves started to hit the ground, they're getting a lactating ration. They're getting 70 pounds per head per day, at a total cost being $2.68. Our team thought it would be beneficial this year to put our cows on a flush ration to get them ready for breeding. They're getting 70 pounds per head per day, at a total cost being $2.53.
Hello, my name is Micaiah Dawson. I am from Mossbank, Saskatchewan. I am this year's mixed farm coordinator. The corn silage for 2024 varieties were Pioneer 6909R, Pioneer 7202, and Pride 1017. These varieties were seeded on LC 18 and 19. The average was 12 tons per acre. The barley silage variety for 2024 was CDC Austinson. Austinson was seeded on AL01 and LC 1516. The average was 8 tons per acre. The corn silage for 2025 season will be seeded on LC 1560 and LC 13. The barley silage will be seeded on AL01 and LC 12. The corn silage varieties for 2025 are Pioneer 7211 and Northstar 913S. We chose Pioneer 7211 as it shows increased tonnage per acre by observing neighbors who have used this variety. We chose Northstar 913S as it shows similar heat units with a lower starch and higher starch digestibility. The barley silage variety for 2025 will be CDC Durango. We chose this variety as it is the replacement for CDC Austinson, which we have used for the past couple of years. As well, it is 2 centimeters shorter than Austinson and has excellent straw strength.
Hello, my name is Jonathan Alberg. I'm from Qualicum Beach, Vancouver Island, British Columbia, and I am this year's Range and Forage Coordinator for the Purebred unit. This year, our cow-calf pairs were grazing at LCP 21, Trout Pond, and Lee Park, as well as our replacement heifers were at Lee Park and Trout Pond. We also did aftermath grazing, and this is including LC2, 17, 18, and 19. Our total grazing cost for 2024 is $10,394.50. This is $1,364.40 over budget. This is due to an extended number of days on grazing and aftermath grazing. Please refer to booklet page 7 for further breakdown of paddock and days. For our 2025 grazing plan, we will be utilizing LCP 21. This is split into 4 paddocks, and we will be utilizing a rotational grazing method. We estimate this pasture to last at least 80 days.
My name is Faith Perrin. I'm from Sherwood Park, Alberta, and I'm one of this year's Angus Records and Administration Coordinators. This year we were budgeted $2,360, but we were over budget due to herd tracks and Canadian Angus Association memberships, lay registration, and our embryo cost, making our actual $3,771. Our current herd inventory includes 30 cows, 25 calves, 9 replacement heifers, and 1 breeding bull. The growth rate industry standard is 43% of the dams weighed at weaning. Our heifers were 679 pounds and our bulls were 783. The open rate industry standard is 4%. Our 5-year average is 20%, but unfortunately our open rate for 2024 was 46%.
Good afternoon. My name is Emma Thomason. I'm from Central Butte, Saskatchewan, and I'm also one of this year's Angus Records and Administration Coordinators. Moving to length of calving season, industry standard is 63 days. Here at the college, we had a calving season of 80 days, and this was due to having 1 late cow. Otherwise, we were done calving in 56 days. Moving to death loss, industry standard is 4%, and the 5-year average at the college is 8.5%. Our 2025 calf death loss was 17% with 5 deaths. Our replacement heifer death loss was 15% with 2 deaths, and our cows and bulls remain at 0%. Another part of our position is using herd tracks and keeping track of average daily gains. Herd tracks is a program that we use to keep track of things such as vaccines, weights, animal sales, and much more. All 3 beef units have access to this program. This year, we decided to keep track of average daily gains to ensure that we were on track for our sale. This year, the bulls gained 3 pounds per day, and the sale and replacement heifers gained 1.7 pounds per day.
Hello, my name is Emma Grimmeyer, and I'm from Clyde, Alberta, and I'm one of this year's health and treatment coordinators. This year, for cases treated, we had 19 pink eye, 3 sick, 2 foot rot, 2 abscesses, 1 wounded eye, 1 calving difficulty, 1 scours, and 1 naval infection. For information on what each case was treated with, along with a cost comparison as to why we continue to treat with Oxyvet instead of a mass treatment method, please refer to page 7 and 8 in the booklet. For preventative care, this year, in September, we gave all of our weaned calves Ultrabac 7 and Bovishield Gold 1 shot. In November, we gave all of our bred heifers their first dose of Scour Guard. In December, we gave all of our cows and bred heifers Ultrabac 7, Cattle Master FP5, as well as Scour Guard for all of the bred animals. In January, we gave all of our cows ivermectin, and we began giving all of our newborn calves Bovalis Nasalgen 3 PMH and Vita First Care. And finally, in March, we gave all of our calves Ultrabac 7 and Bovishield Gold 1 shot. Bovishield Gold 1 shot, as well as Cattle Master FP5, are both for the prevention of BRD and BVD. Ultrabac 7 is for many diseases, but to name a few, enterotoxemia and blackleg. Vita First Care is for mineral supplementation, and Bovalis Nasalgen 3 PMH was used to prevent BRD.
Good afternoon, my name is Allie Logan, and I'm from Sycamoose, British Columbia, and I'm one of this year's genetics and reproductive coordinators. After culling our previous bull due to reproductive issues, we had the opportunity to invest in some high-quality genetics for our herd. Our team discussed the criteria for purchasing a new herd bull and ultimately came to the decision to purchase Rivercrest Kid at 130M. In addition, we will be expanding our genetic program by purchasing 6 embryos and Musgrave Colossal Semen. As well, we will be receiving embryo donations from Lazy MC Angus and Boris in Marketing, as well as a semen donation from Dean and Livestock. One of the key recommendations from last year's genetics and reproductive coordinators was to purchase a heifer. This year, we took that a step further and purchased 3 bred cows from Allendale Angus. Our previous bull was originally semen tested in February of 2024, where he passed this test with an 86% motility rate. But because of our open cow issue, we had him tested again, and where he failed this second test with a 43% motility rate. And for insurance purposes, he was tested a few weeks later, and his results showed a further decline to just 18% motility and a significant decrease in his scrotal size. These findings confirmed a diagnosis of testicular degeneration. Because of these reproductive issues with our bull, we had an overall open rate of 46%. We decided to cull 16 out of the 22 open cows and choosing to retain 6 for rebreeding this year. To prevent similar issues like this in the future, we plan to implement some key management strategies. This includes routinely heat checking our cow herd and semen testing our new bull, which we are on track to completing these goals for this year.
Hello, my name is Ryan Dreichel. I'm from Rimbey, Alberta, and I'm also one of this year's reproductive and genetics coordinators. This year we had a total of 30 head hit the ground with 13 Black Angus bulls, 2 Red Angus bulls, and 10 Black Angus heifers. We also had a total of 5 deaths, 2 from the mother being laid on or stepped on, 1 from a testicular hernia, 1 from a twisted gut, and 1 from a respiratory issue. We also had 4 embryo calves, which is to be determined via genetic testing. We had 1 banded due to extremely high birth weight. We had 1 free marten sold. We also replaced one of our deaths with a Holstein cross from the dairy unit. For our breeding plan this year, we're planning on breeding 30 with AI, naturally breeding 7, and putting in 15 embryos. For our embryo transfer program, we are using 2 of our own as well as renting 16 from the commercial unit. We're also syncing all of our heifers to get them on the same schedule and for an increased conception rate. For a further breakdown of our AI semen, please look on page 8 in the booklet.
So this year, in preparation for our Roundup sale, our unit decided that we were going to picture our own bulls for our catalog. So, to do so, we were required to not only clip the heads of our bulls, but as well torch the necks and the body hair as we seen fit. I believe this was a great success as shown by the results of our sale.
My name is Keaton Brandon. I'm from Bard, Alberta, and I'm one of this year's marketing and Roundup coordinators. The Purebred unit would like to extend a huge thank you to all of our 2025 Roundup buyers. This year, 72% of our bulls and heifers went to repeat customers. A special thanks goes out to Brent Farrell for purchasing our high-selling bull, Arch Partington for purchasing our high-selling heifer, and Fred Vandalate for purchasing 3 bulls. Out of our 14 sale bulls, 8 AI sired bulls brought an average price of $8,750, 3 natural born bulls brought an average price of $7,000, and 3 embryo bull calves brought an average price of $7,750. With these stats, it makes us think that AI and embryo transfer is a great way to enhance our program.
My name is Peyton Vert. I'm also one of this year's Roundup and marketing coordinators. So outside of our 2025 Roundup sale, we sold a total of 31 head. This included our herd bull and the insurance that came with him, and we made just over $84,000.
This year, we were tasked with completing break-evens to help us better assess what our floor prices would be for our sale. We came to the conclusion that we would need to get $4,000 a heifer and $5,000 per bull. We completed this with great success as our heifers averaged $5,400 and our bulls averaged just over $8,100.
My name is Janae Lance. I'm from Loon River, Saskatchewan, and I'm one of this year's finance coordinators. The majority of our income this year came from our Roundup sale, as we made $136,000. Our second majority came from our cull cow sales, as we made $42,000. The rest of our income came from various sales, all of which adding up to about $224,000. As you can see, our unit's total expenses this year add up to about $155,600, with feed and nutrition along with livestock purchases being the highest, as feed and nutrition is sitting at about $47,000 and livestock purchases about $42,000. This will be explained further in our presentation. We're very happy with how we did at this year's Roundup sale, with both our bulls and our heifers exceeding our expectations. This year, our team made a total profit of just under $72,000.
Hi, I'm Shaylin O'Hare, and I'm from Kidscotty, Alberta, and I'm one of the other finance coordinators. This year, we have successfully stayed in budget in most areas except for trucking, corral cleaning, livestock purchases, and vet and medical, and as previously mentioned, grazing and registration. Trucking is over budget by around $800, and corral cleaning is over budget by around $2,000. Livestock purchases is over budget by around $38,000, and vet and medical is over budget by around $1,300. Our total cost to produce 1 pound of a calf is $3.34, resulting in the price per pound, resulting in the return per pound is $6.95, resulting in a profit of $3.61. This is justified by how we market our calves later due to a majority of our calves being sold in the Roundup sale. Last year's numbers are quite higher than ours, but we are unsure of the accuracy in them as we were unable to look over their cost of production to figure out where they acquired this data. Livestock purchases is over budget due to us buying 3 bred animals, 6 embryos, and a new herd bull this year. Corral cleaning is over budget due to the company's prices going up due to inflation. And vet and medical is over budget due to preg checking not being accounted for in our original budget, and we were only budgeted to semen test 16 bulls and ended up semen testing a total of 17 head that we had to, and a couple we had to semen test a couple times due to cold weather.
I am also this year's public relations coordinator, so my most viewed post on Instagram was a Goodbye 2024, which was posted New Year's Eve. This highlighted some of videos and photos of what our unit did in the first semester. The most viewed post on Facebook was a thank you to all of our 2025 Roundup buyers. In total, I have posted 35 posts, which included Meet the Unit at the beginning of the year, our progress with our herd, team bonding, the Roundup sale, and much more.
At this time, the Purebred unit would like to thank everyone that has helped us out this year and in the past. This includes New Holland Agriculture, Austin Partington, Tracy Quinton, Paul DeHoy and the rest of farm staff, all of our subcommittee advisors, our past donors, Denise Martin, and the rest of the SMF Livestock units. We are now open for questions.
What was your reason
So the question is regarding why we chose to keep the 6 open cows we did. I will pass this question over to one of our reproductive coordinators, Allie.
So we chose to keep those 6 because we thought they just really fit our program, and because the open cow issue wasn't it wasn't the cow's fault, it was our bull issue. So really there was nothing wrong with the cows. Does this answer your question?
In your guys' recommendations you left for next year's unit, you guys talked about choosing traits that are going to strengthen and improve the quality of your herd. So what top 3 traits specifically are you guys looking for to strengthen and improve the herd quality?
So the question is regarding one of our recommendations for next year to improve the quality and strengthen our herd, and what top 3 traits we are looking for when we're choosing that. I'll pass this question over to one of our marketing coordinators, Dylan.
I believe as 3 traits that we're looking for now, we're looking to make sure we enhance how good of footed cattle we have. We can make sure all our cows are excellent conformation-wise so they can move well and they don't have any problems that way. And I believe one thing we did talk about a lot this year was we want to enhance the muscling in the hind quarter of our calves. Does this answer your question?
In your mission or vision statement, you talk about raising high-quality cattle to suit the needs of both purebred and commercial breeders. Do you have statistics on the proportions of commercial versus purebred buyers from your sale?
The question is regarding statistics versus purebred and commercial buyers at our sale. I'll pass this over to one of our Roundup coordinators, Keaton.
So for this year, all of our bulls went to commercial producers. We had a heifer that went to a purebred producer, but I believe that if we strive to produce good commercial cattle, the purebred interest will come. Does that answer your question?
Thank you so much, Purebred Unit, for your presentation. I would now like to welcome to the stage the 2024 to 2025 SMF Dairy Unit.
Welcome to the Dairy Unit final presentation. I'm Corinne Blazer from Metcalfe, Ontario, and I'm this year's General Manager. This year's team is made up of 14 students coming from different backgrounds from BC, Alberta, Ontario, and Argentina. Our mission statement is, we strive to produce quality milk and raise healthy animals, focusing on production and efficiency while gaining skills and knowledge to be used in the dairy industry. Some goals we have accomplished are attending the Western Dairy Showcase, successful team bonding, caustic paste approval by the Animal Care Committee, participation in the Western Canadian Dairy News, and some facility upgrades. Some ongoing goals we are leaving for next year are improving the calving intervals, improving our herd's genetics, continuing the pasture plan in front of the DLC, and looking into alternative manure management strategies. Some recommendations we are leaving for next year is continuous hoof health monitoring, keeping up to date with fluctuating calf prices, continuing with genetic diversification, looking into alternatives for manure hauling, having check-ins with student milkers and keeping them up to date on relative information, and using social media to educate the public about the dairy industry. Our SWOT analysis is as follows. Some strengths are new technology at the DLC, the improvement of genetic diversification in our herd, and our herd's high production. Some weaknesses we have noticed is our herd's hoof health, the mix of opinions within our team, and the limited capacity of the DLC. Some opportunities we see is new incoming and present technology at the DLC, good milk prices and incoming incentive days, as well as high calf prices. Some threats are trade agreements, possible drought, and our farm's location.
My name is Brenna Jo Straub. I'm from Linden, Alberta, and this year I'm the Records and SOP Coordinator. We are currently managing 134 lactating cows at the barn. For more information on our herd inventory, please refer to page 14 in the booklet. In January, the DLC had our full assessment with ProAction. For the first time since the new barn has been built, we passed with no demerits, majors, or minors. A part of my job is also registering calves at the barn. From September to March, there were 107 calves born. Out of that, 51 Holstein heifers were registered through Dairy Trace. I also started adding photos of all the calves to their registrations for additional identification purposes.
Hello, my name is Nicole Verhoof. I'm from Olds, Alberta, and I am this year's Genetic Reproduction Coordinator. Behind me is the expected genetic gain based on the bulls we currently have in our semen tank. Lifetime profit index is expected to increase by 336, pro dollar is expected to increase by 590, milk is expected to increase by 369, fat is expected to increase by 25, protein is expected to increase by 15, and conformation is expected to increase by 5. I also calculated the genetic gain that we received based on the calves born in September 2024 until now. LPI increased by 59, daughter fertility remained constant, milk increased by 86, fat increased by 4, protein increased by 3, and conformation increased by 1.
I am Megan Costin from Caledon, Ontario, and I am this year's reproduction breeding coordinator. Over this year, the breeding team has seen some improvements in our cow numbers. The average conception rate from September through February was 32% with an average of 7 pregnancies. We have also seen some improvements in our heifer numbers with an average conception rate of 39% and an average of 3.4 pregnancies. Our lowest monthly service per conception rate was 2.1 and our highest was 4 with an average of 3.2. We are currently using 3 methods of heat detection at the barn, including sense-up collars and more recently, behavior analysis ear tags and herd navigator. Over 9 21-day periods, we typically bred just over a third of eligible cows with between 4 to 8 pregnancies each period. The difference in these numbers is likely due to the limited amount of sense-up collars, but should improve with the addition of the behavior analysis tags and herd navigator running again.
This year, we worked hard to increase the herd's genetic diversity as recommended by last year's unit. We did this by exploring new semen companies for our semen purchases. This will allow us to introduce new pedigrees and bloodlines into our herd. We are also planning on implanting 4 embryos next week. Thank you to the Meserly family for your generous donation. The first ever Best of Lakeland sale was a great success. Our 2 fresh heifers, lot 1 and 2, sold for $4,300. Our first pregnant heifer, lot 3, sold for $4,100. And our second pregnant heifer, lot 4, was under her reserve and did not sell. Please see page 15 in the booklet for break-even information. Thank you to our buyer and everyone who bid and supported our sale.
Hello, my name is Hannah Johnston. I'm from Listowel, Ontario, and I'm this year's Public Relations Coordinator. Our Best of Lakeland sale this year reached 4,200 people, with the lowest reach being 520 on Lot 4. We had 3 bidders on lot 1 and 2, 2 bidders on lot 3, and only 1 bidder on lot 4. We have increased our following this year by 105 on Facebook and 103 on Instagram. A new event that we participated in this year was visiting the grade 1 and 3 classrooms of a local elementary school to talk to them about SMF and the different livestock industries.
Good afternoon. My name is Emma Chrysler. I am from Embro, Ontario, and I am one of this year's calf and heifer coordinators. This past semester, we weighed and recorded our Holstein heifer calf birth and weaning weights in order to track our average daily gain and average birth weight. As you can see in the graph behind me, our average birth weight was 101.7 pounds, which puts us above industry average of 91 pounds. Our average daily gain is 2 pounds per day, which is 0.14 pounds greater than industry average, and 0.03 pounds a day greater than the top 20% of Canadian herds. We also calculated our scour morbidity in order to compare against industry standards and the previous fiscal year's incidence rates. As you can see in the graph behind me, there is a significant decrease in scour cases as the previous year's was at 20% and ours sits at 8.6%. This puts us within the industry standard of less than 15% morbidity.
Hi, I'm Sarah Cooper from London, Ontario, and I'm one of this year's calf and heifer coordinators. This year, we compared last year's and this year's pneumonia rates in our calves and heifers to industry standards. The graphs on the next 2 slides shows the month that these pneumonia cases occurred. The target industry standard for calves 0 to 3 months old is under 10% morbidity. This year, our calves have had a 6.5% morbidity rate, and last year they had an 8% morbidity rate. The target industry standard for pneumonia in heifers aged 90 to 180 days old is under 6% morbidity. This year, we had a 2% morbidity rate in our heifers, which has improved from last year's rate at 9.5%. This year, we also decided to start administering Proflora boluses to the calves for the first 3 days of life. These boluses are antibiotic-free and have probiotics, prebiotics, and vitamins to help newborn, sick, and stressed calves. Benefits we hope to see from using this product are improved passive transfer, reduced stress by supporting gut health, and increased rumen development.
Hello, my name is Ryan Adams. I am from Creston, British Columbia, and I am this year's transition cow coordinator. This year, we have had a total of 155 cows and heifers calf, with 66% of them transitioning problem-free. This year, we have seen a drop in our ketosis, milk fever, and metritis cases. We believe this is due to decisions made by the prior team at the end of their fiscal year, and we are just now starting to see the benefits of those decisions. Over the past few years, our team has been using the SenseHub collars to monitor our cows. These collars are able to monitor the activity trends of the animal, their daily eating habits, along with their daily rumination. As you can see, this is cow 193's monitor, and on the left side of the screen you can see a spike in rumination with a drop in daily eating habits and rumination. This shows that the cow has gone into calving, with the next 4 spikes in activity being her first 4 heats. As you can see, on December 18th, all 3 dropped. This was due to the cow being confirmed pregnant and the collar being taken off due to the limited amount of them. This year, our team has been given the opportunity to use the D-Laval behavior analysis tags. These tags can also monitor their daily or their cow's activity, their daily eating, and rumination, but it can also tell you where the animal is in the barn, along with its numbers compared to its group average and its herd average. However, these tags are only going on once the animal is calved, so at this moment we are unable to compare them any further to the SenseHub collars.
Hi, my name is Caitlin Jackson and I'm from Kingston, Ontario. I am this year's herd health coordinator. Here we have a brief overview of some of the more common issues we have had to treat for in the past year. These include 46 mastitis treatments, 19 retained placenta, 8 metritis, 5 pneumonia, 2 abscesses, and 1 milk fever. Mastitis has proven to be one of the biggest costs to our health budget, with an estimated cost of $15,860 in 2024, mainly relating to production losses and treatment costs. Based on the graph see behind, there were the most new cases during the summer and fall due to hotter temperatures, new shavings being used, and a new group of people entering the barn as we are a learning facility. In comparison to last year, we are averaging fewer new cases per month and hope to keep this up by maintaining a steady herd health and vaccination program. This year we have been fortunate to not have few major problem cows, but have still encountered some issues. Back in January, we intended to sell 590 as a fresh heifer in our Best of Lakeland sale, but she came up lame just before the time of the sale and we decided to keep her. In March, she suddenly went off feed and lost body condition score. We had our vet check her and he thinks it could have been a possible liver ulcer or hardware. She was given little chance for improvement, but has been making steady increases in milk production, so she will be remaining in the herd. Also in March, cow 474 suddenly passed away, and this was presumably in response to feed changes at the time, although we did not investigate further into her death.
Hello, my name is Harold Helmus. I'm from Bard, Alberta, and I'm this year's health coordinator for the dairy unit. As you can see on the slide behind me, we've had less cows trimmed in February than we had in July, although we had an increased incidence of lameness. While most of our lameness numbers did decrease, we've had a drastic increase in the hoof health in the digital dermatitis in our herd. This was caused by the scrapers breaking down and not doing a proper clean. This will be alleviated by the Lely Discovery going in on the parlor side.
Good afternoon, I'm Brandon Vanderkoy. I grew up on a dairy farm from Norwich, Ontario, and I'm this year's feed management coordinator. On the table behind me, you can see all the different feed groups and their costs per head per day. Mind you, all these costs came from Central Feeds. Starting off with the dairy group consuming over 29 kgs of dry matter a day at $14.22. Heifers 1 through 3 at $2.72, heifers 4 through 8 at $2.59. Pregnant heifers are at $3.25, and the far-offs are at $3.85. The close-ups are at $6.40. Please refer to page 15, 16, and 17 in your booklet for a further breakdown of the ration. 3 weeks ago, I was asked if the new robot going in affected our feed intake at the DLC. As you can see behind me, there's been many benefits to the new robot going in, like our PMR increasing by 2.4 kgs and pellets decreasing by 250 grams, showcasing a more efficient feeding strategy to our cows. Additionally, we've been able to add another 8 cows on our robot, and finally, energy-corrected milk has risen over 3 kilograms, showcasing more milk quality and quantity.
Good afternoon. My name is Courtney Orser. I'm from Kingston, Ontario, and I'm this year's Industry, Research, and Technology Coordinator. Over the past few months, we have introduced 3 significant technology upgrades to our operation. These include the Lely Discovery Collector, the D-Laval Behavior Analysis ear tags, and the D-Laval VMS V310 robotic milking system, which we have been using for over 4 months. Let's begin with the Lely Discovery Collector, which we will be implementing on the parlor side of our barn. This system is designed to vacuum manure, which is a critical component in managing the cleanliness of our barn. Recently, our scraper system has been problematic and contributing to the onset of lameness in our herd. The collector is equipped with sensors that can monitor cow traffic and automatically clean areas of the barn with higher manure concentration. This upgrade will reduce manual labor, decrease wear on the floor, and most importantly, lower incidences of hoof-related issues that can arise from unclean conditions. Now turning to the D-Laval VMS V310 robotic milking system, the improvements we have seen are quite remarkable. While our average milk yield per animal has experienced a slight decrease, we are still consistently above industry average. This decrease can largely be attributed to increased stocking density rather than any deficiency in the technology itself. Notably, we have improved our average milk yield per milking and greatly reduced our numbers of incompletes and kickoffs. This chart behind me is available in your booklet on page 17. It compares the V310's performance versus industry benchmarks and includes data that was not recorded while milking on the classic system. The V310 allows us to milk more cows, and the milking process itself is faster, saving valuable time each cycle. The V310 has also significantly reduced our labor requirements. We are experiencing fewer alarms, and the severity of these alarms is considerably lower than on the previous system. One feature that is particularly useful is the utter self-teaching capability, which has saved staff and students countless hours of troubleshooting and allowed us to focus more on herd management rather than machine maintenance.
Hi,
Hi, my name is Hannah Johnston, and I will be covering the production coordinator position during this presentation. Behind me, you will see a graph of our monthly production throughout the fiscal year of milk, fat, and protein. We had our best production for all three in the month of January with 144,499 kilos of milk, 6,381 kilos of fat, and 4,909 kilos of protein.
Hello, I also had the privilege of helping out with the production for the dairy team. On the slide behind me, you can see the somatic cell count numbers and the individual bacterial count numbers. In November, you can see a spike in the IBC numbers, which was caused by the old robot's washing system breaking down. This will be averted by the new robot that we have, which has better alarms, so we will be alerted sooner. We also had an inhibitor penalty in October, which was caused by poor communication, which we will prevent this from happening again by the purchase and use of a bulk tank inhibitor tester.
Hello, my name is Janaea Roseboom, and I am from Rimbey, Alberta. This year, I had the privilege of being this year's finance coordinator. This year, we have made $1,598,939 from April 1st, 2024 to March 31st, 2025. Of that, we have made $1,477,899 from milk sales. The remainder of our income results from the Dairy Direct Payment Program, calf, heifer, and cull cow sales, with a small amount coming in from miscellaneous income. This year, we exceeded our milk sale budget by $417,768. We received $16,771 from the Dairy Direct Payment Program. We have exceeded our calf, heifer, and cull cow sale budgets. This is primarily due to the barn being at full capacity, our Best of Lakeland heifer sale, and increasing the prices of our calves. From here on out, I would please ask you to refer to the PowerPoint for the most accurate and up-to-date numbers. Our biggest expense this year was nutrition-related expenses at $752,304. Our second biggest expense this year was related to repairs and general supplies at $163,845. The rest of our expenses belong in categories such as health, bedding, manure hauling, records, hoof care, milk deductions, labor, equipment, and utilities. This year, we have exceeded a variety of our budget categories, including nutrition, hoof trimming, bedding, health, reproduction, and records. This is primarily due to the barn being at full capacity and pushing our production limits. However, this has been alleviated by the $417,768 surplus in our milk sales category. This year, the cost to produce 1 kilogram of butterfat was $20.54. In 2020, the cost to produce a kilogram of butterfat was $16.60 according to the Alberta Dairy Cost Study. Currently, in 2025, we are receiving $22.41 per kilogram of butterfat as per our Alberta milk pay statements. While in 2020, we were receiving $20.19 as per our Alberta milk pay statements. This means that in 2025, we profit $1.87 per every kilogram of butterfat, while in 2020, we were receiving approximately $3.59 per kilogram of butterfat. This means that our profit margin has decreased by $1.72 from 5 years ago. A point of interest I would like to bring up is our milk deductions. We have exceeded our milk deductions, but this is primarily attributed to producing more milk. Milk deductions are calculated via fixed rate multiplied by hectoliter, so the more milk you produce, the higher your milk deduction cost will be. In addition to this, we had an inhibitor penalty in the month of October and a bacteria penalty in the month of November. However, this is alleviated by the $417,768 $768 surplus in our milk sales category. Another point of interest is our manure hauling category. We greatly exceeded this budget, but this is primarily due to the mileage costs associated with our current contractor. He travels over 430 kilometers round trip to spread liquid manure for the DLC. However, we have left a recommendation for next year's team to look into alternative options with the hope of decreasing this expense. A third point of interest I would like to bring up is how we exceeded our repairs and general supplies category. However, this will be alleviated with the new capital investment that was installed in the barn. Looking ahead, we project a decrease in this category in the upcoming fiscal year. Overall, the DLC had a very profitable year, bringing home $142,144.
I also have the privilege of being this year's range and forage coordinator. This year, our team has been working with farm staff and the senior leadership team to find a permanent housing spot for our pregnant heifers. We were originally looking for a barn to put a barn on the south side of the DLC. However, we decided to go with a pasture just north of the DLC, as this allows our animals to better perform their fifth freedom, the freedom of natural behavior. With this decision, there will be no new barn going in our dry cow pasture area, so we have decided to finish our fence. With a recommendation from the crops team to square off this corner, we now went from a 5.2 acre pasture to a 9.7, allowing our animals to have more room.
I'm also the mixed farm coordinator. In the fall of 2024, the lagoon was emptied and 1.24 million gallons were spread. This spring, the pit will be emptied again and is planned to be spread on LCP 21, LC 12, and ALO1 at 3,500 gallons per acre. Solid manure will also be taken to be spread outside of town on rented land.
This concludes our presentation. We would like to thank everyone on the screen behind me and anyone who has helped us this year. A huge shout out to Madison, Cass, Leroy for being at the DLC every day, ensuring our cows' health and their production. Another shout out to Jessica and Yolette for helping us every day. We'd now like to open the floor to any questions. The question was regarding using the new behavior analysis ear tags. This will be handed off to our technology coordinator, Courtney.
So the tags are actually going to really help us in our heat detection part of the dairy unit. The data that goes into the tag is then analyzed by AI, and it has algorithms that can help us detect these cows and get them bred back and increase our conception rate. So that's definitely the main thing we're looking for. Does this answer your question?
Janet?
You indicated that your pneumonia and scour rates are down in calves. What changes did you implement that you think might have caused them?
The question asked was about our pneumonia and scour rates and what we implemented to lower those. That question will be handed off to our calf and heifer coordinators, Sarah and Emma.
To answer your question, we didn't implement anything to enhance our or decrease our scour and ammonia rates. However, with an increased team size, we have had a larger opportunity of viewing our calves in order to observe any issues that they may have, as well as we had milder season this year, which could also attribute to the decrease in cases. However, I cannot give you a definitive answer. Does this answer your question?
The question asked was about our 19% retained placenta and what we're doing to lower that number. This question will be handed off to our transition cow coordinator, Ryan.
Right now, I do not have a definitive answer for you. This number is lower than last year. However, it's not significantly lower. I can get back to you at a later time. I apologize, but does that answer your question?
Thank you to the dairy team for your presentation. I'm Kennedy Mooley. I'm from Concert, Alberta, and I will be next year's extensive grazing and bison general manager, and I would like to invite them to the stage for their presentation.
Hello, my name is Christian Grabler. I'm from Barhead, Alberta, and I'm this year's GM of the Extensive Grazing Program. The bison and the extensive grazing herd have been combined under one unit as the extensive grazing. Our team mission. Our mission this year is to sustainably manage our pasture land for extensive low maintenance systems. We can achieve this by focusing on strong maternal herds, soil health, animal welfare, education, and learning. Some goals from last year's team. For short term, we have increased profit margins from last year. For long term, we got graze as much of the year as possible, animal welfare, environmental sustainability, and improved pasture health. For this year's team's goals, we got for short term, increased profit margins from last year. We've been able to achieve this greatly due to better off of next year's team, but as well for generations to come. And pasture health, we feel this is important because we want to be improving our pasture health, and so we can maintain our animal units and not be decreasing our animals when everyone's selling off during drought periods. Some goals we recommend next year's team looking into is compare range assessments year over year to make sure we're actually on the right track of improving our pastures and not just maintaining or decreasing. Semen test bison bulls. We've talked to some industry about this, and we've recognized this is becoming a more common practice, and we feel this will help with our higher than expected open weight, which we'll talk about more on later on in the presentation. And explore water access on LCP 29. We feel this will greatly benefit us and give us more options how better utilize our pastures, as well as genetic testing for breed composition. We feel not only on the bison side this will be beneficial, so we're ensuring we're not line breeding our bison, but as well on the beef side so we can better select bulls that we're looking for, and so we can limit as many solid colored animals or feather neck animals.
Hello, my name is Esther Doyle. I'm from Westlake, Alberta, and I'm this year's Secretary and Data Analyst for the Extensive Grazing team. You'll see behind me on the slide there are 3 different colors of text. The text in red refers to our cattle herd, the text in blue refers to our bison, and the text in black refers to both our beef and bison herds. Some strengths that we have include the different markets for beef and bison, allowing us to sell at different points of the year. Another strength is the diverse backgrounds of our SMF team members, giving us diverse perspectives and solutions. Our beef strength is the extensive grazing methods we utilize, which should lower our input costs. And a strength specific to our bison is the relatively large herd size. Some weaknesses that we face include winter water availability, the multiple roles each person needs to take on due to us having a smaller team, and the multiple herds which divides our time and focus. A weakness more specific to our bison is the poor pastureland health of the bison land. Some opportunities that we have include the ability to make industry connections and work with the research team through Lakeland. Another opportunity is the high calf prices for both beef and bison this past year. And an opportunity specific to our bison is limited competition due to bison being a more niche market. Some threats that we face include high feed prices and adverse weather. The threat of biosecurity pertains to both of our herds, with our beef herd being more concerned with things like pink eye, and our bison herd being concerned with things like malignant catarrhal fever. Our beef growth rate is slightly below both industry average and the target at only 38%. This is due in part to our extensive grazing methods. We would not expect a calf that is born and raised on pasture to grow as quickly as a more intensively raised calf that might have access to things like creep feeding. We are, however, working to fix this by selecting our replacement heifers and considering things like average daily gain and weaning weight. We had 5 open cows out of our 53, giving us an open rate of 9%. This is much better than last year's open rate of 18%. However, we're still working to reduce this by culling our open cows and keeping a high bull-to-cow ratio. Our calving season lasted 68 days between April 28th and July 5th, and we had three calf deaths, giving us a death loss of 6.67%. Our summer grazing lasted 224 days, including all grazing out on pasture, fall rye, and crop aftermath grazing. And lastly, none of our cows needed help with calving or with the first suckle, giving us an assistance required of 0%. Our bison growth rate is slightly above industry average by about 20 pounds. This is due to the high quality of feed we fed this year, the animals being on feed for longer, and the comparatively mild winter. We had a high open rate of 15%, with 18 of our bison cows being labeled as open. However, please take into consideration the fact we did not preg check until fairly late in the season, so the ultrasound is not as accurate as it otherwise might have been. In total, we culled 21 cows for being open, having behavioral issues, or for late calving. The majority of our herd had finished calving by June 15th, although 10 of our cows didn't calve until later, with 1 not calving until September. We had 2 calf deaths, giving us a death loss of 2%. We lost 1 calf over the summer and 1 in February during processing. We're hoping that making renovations to our bison handling facilities will reduce the chance of things like this happening again in the future. And lastly, our bison grazing days lasted 183 days and happened entirely out on pasture.
My name is Taylor Williams. I'm from Stony Plain, Alberta, and I am this year's records coordinator. Our current beef herd inventory as of March 31st is as stated on the slide. We have 2 bulls, 39 cows, 9 bred heifers, and 18 replacement heifers. Our current bison herd inventory as of March 31st is also as stated on the slide. We have 9 bulls, 98 cows, and 9 2-year-old replacement heifers. We did not end up keeping any of our heifer calves from this year's calf crop. Please reference page 23 in the booklet.
My name is Kylage McNally. I'm from Bethune, Saskatchewan, and I'm this year's Range and Forage and Facilities Coordinator. For winter feeding for our cows, we chose to bale graze on LC 15 and 16 this winter. We chose this spot because it has good winter water access at the bar farm, as well as to experiment with winter fencing, as well as improve soil organic matter and reduce our yardage costs. We utilized electric fencing to split up our bale paddocks, and we found that the white step-in fence posts worked the best as long as you pre-drilled them and didn't go into a lake. We found that earlier in the winter we were putting 10 bales in each paddock to last us 4 days, and that's when we had the entire herd out there as well as some calves. And further on in the winter we were putting 3 bales in each paddock to last 4 days. We found that cleanup got better throughout the winter as we got better at managing these paddocks, and that cleanup was also better on snow as animals weren't trampling feed into the mud. Our summer grazing plan, we're planning to turn our cattle out to pasture at the end of April. They're going to calve on LCP 24. We plan to keep them here till the middle of June, and then they will move to a rotational graze system on LCP 22 and 23. Where there's going to be 24 paddocks set up with temporary electric fence. One highlight is paddock number 24 in LCP 23. This is our riparian area that is going to be grazed separately in the fall once it has dried up. And our estimated grazing cost for pasture is $17,500. This winter, the dugout was dug down at LCP 34 at the bison land. Our Range and Forage Committee presented our plans to Alternative Land Use Services this winter for potential funding. We proposed a tire tank with a solar pump, as well as fencing out the riparian area. Last semester, our team was given a generous donation of $150,000 from Ken Wasmuth to upgrade our bison handling facility. We've been working on proposing designs to senior leadership team, as well as comparing prices and features between different manufacturers. Some of the things we're going to be looking at doing is getting rid of the teardrop pen, improving semi-truck access, and changing up the control boxes to improve efficiency. Our summer grazing plan for bison is expected to use the equivalency of 731 animal unit months for a 6-month grazing season. We're going to get the fences repaired on the quarter lines to improve the grazing distribution, and this will allow us to graze each quarter section individually with the exception of LCP 29. And that's something that next year's team can look into, is improving water access on LCP 29.
Good afternoon. My name is Robert Watson, and I am from Vermilion, Alberta. I'm this year's nutrition coordinator for the extensive grazing team. For our bale grazing ration for our cows, they were fed 2024 Westman hay and oat green feed alongside 1352 mineral and salt-free choice at a 2 hay to 1 oat green feed bale ratio, coming out to $3.81 per head per day. The reason this is more expensive than a dry lotting ration is due to the fact that there's a higher residue left behind from bale grazing. However, this provides us with soil armor, and when the cows are out there urinating and defecating, that also adds nutrients back to the soil. For our research rations, our research cows are fed 2024 Cody hay at 19.5 pounds. They're also fed barley silage at 6 pounds and pea straw at 13 pounds, alongside 1352 mineral and salt-free choice, coming out to $2.47 per head per day. For our heifers, they were fed 4 pounds of hay, 5.5 pounds of green feed, 11 pounds of barley silage, and 11 pounds of corn silage, alongside 1352 mineral and salt-free choice, coming out to $1.47 per head per day. Our cows are predicted to gain half a pound and are currently gaining 0.4, where our heifers are predicted to gain 1.9 pounds and are currently gaining 1.83. For the Roundup sale, we had a pen of 3 bred heifers, and they were fed a maintenance ration costing them $1.89 per head per day. For our bison, they were also being fed a bale grazing ration consisting of 12.5 pounds of 2024 Heinz hay and 3.5 pounds of oat green feed, alongside Northern Bison mineral and salt-free choice, coming out to a cost of $2.38 per head per day. As you can see, this is cheaper than the bale grazing for the cows. The reason this is due to the unique ability that bison have to slow down their metabolic rate to as low as 1.4% dry matter intake based off their body weight.
Hello, I'm also this year's Mixed Farm Coordinator. This year we looked at planting a cover crop blend after barley silage was taken off in August from covers and coal. We were hoping to get 23 days of grazing with 69 cows after 30 days of growing days. We had decided against this due to the opportunity cost being $6.86 per head per day. This is not to say this would not work on your operation. This is just saying due to the circumstances we've been dealt. For an ideal system, you'd plant it May, June, and have about 45 days of growing days, with getting 46 days of grazing by using rotational grazing on 69 head, with a cost of $2.77 per head per day. Please keep in mind these are conservative numbers.
My name is Taya Beager-Maruschak. I'm from Camrose, Alberta, and I'm the reproduction coordinator for this year. For our beef herd, we pregnancy checked on November 26, leaving us with an open rate of 9%. We sold our older Hereford bull, along with 3 of our opens and their calves. The reason for not selling all 5 of our opens is because one of them had a heifer on her, and the other had a bull calf on her that had a belly nut that we ended up cutting that same day. For our bison herd, we ended up weaning and pregnancy checking on February 27th and 28th, leaving us with an open rate of 15%. We sold 21 cull cows, 53 heifer calves, and 60 bull calves. Although we sold 21 cull cows, not all of them were actually open. We recently made a flex herd. This is a sorting method that helps choose which animals you want to sell first and which animals you'd like to keep around for longer. Because the college is short on grazing land this year, we made this to help predetermine which animals we want to sell so that we can match the animal unit months of the herd to the animal unit months of grazing available to us. For example, if we need to downsize, we would start by selling cows identified as C quality. 16% of our herd was put into the C group, basing this mostly off of age and frame size. We put all of our 9-year-old cows and 3 of our 10-year-old cows into this group. We chose which 10-year-old cows based off of the performance of their calves, specifically weaning weight and average daily gain.
Hi, my name is Abdul Hasib Khan. I am this year's Health and Research Coordinator for the Extensive Grazing team. For this year, for our processing day this year, we have treated all of our animals with meloxicam, which got branded. We have treated all of our animals with Ultravac 7, Bowie Gold 1-shot, and some of our heifers got treated with Estromate. For our external dewormer, we have used boron ivermectin, and we sadly lost one of our cows due to frothy bloat. For some of our other treatment this year, we have treated one of our lame calves with Oxyvet and Bowiecam. We treated 2 of our cows and 2 of our heifers with Draxin for pink eye, and we have also one of our calves was showing sign of pneumonia, which later got treated with Resflor. One of our cows had a cancerous growth on her 3rd eyelid, which later got surgically removed. On our bison processing day this year, we have treated all of our animals with Vision A 8-way vaccine, Express 5 vaccine, and for our dewormer, we have used Oral Safeguard, Boron Solmectin, and for our antibiotics, we have used Zuprevo. Out of all of these medications, Express 5 and Zuprevo was asked by our buyer and were administered to cattle after the vet's recommendation. As a group, we have collectively decided to purchase work on food disinfectant just to strengthen our biosecurity and minimize the disease transfer in between different herds. For our bison deaths this year, we have lost 3 of our cows and 2 of our heifers due to unknown reasons, and we have found one of our calves dead during our processing day. During our weaning day, we have administered all of our calves with 10 ml of Ferapis. Ferapis is nothing but a synthetically made pheromone which is naturally occurring in mothering animals. As a result, we have seen relatively low weaning stress and a 4% gain in body weight and a 4% increase in body weight when compared to industry standards. As a recommendation, my recommendation for next year students would be to set up a control and get some better results. For our beef research this year, we have donated 15 of our cows and 18 of our heifers to the University of Alberta greenhouse gas emission trial. The main goal of this trial is to get the methane emissions emitted by cows, collect RFI data, and overall measure their efficiency. Some of our data collection methods are fecal sampling, breath sampling, and weight monitoring. This trial got started on 1st of February and will conclude by October 2027.
I am also this year's Beef Finance Coordinator. Our total profit for this year is a little over $19,000, with our total income being a little under $125,000. 2 of our largest income categories include our steer calves at a little over $49,500 and our heifer calves at a little under $42,000. Our 2 largest income variances include our heifer calves at a little under $39,000 and our bred heifers at $25,000. Our total expenses for this year is a little under $106,000. 2 of our largest expense categories include our feed at a little over $37,000 and our grazing at a little under $22,000. 2 Two of our largest expense variances include our feed at a little over $16,000 and our grazing feed at a little under $10,000. We are comparing this year's cost of production to last year. Our cost to produce 1 pound of calf is $2.80. This is higher than last year due to the higher hay prices. Our return per pound of calf is $4.40, and our profit per pound of calf is $1.59. We have 2 points of interest this year. One is that our feed expense actual is way over the budgeted amount. This is due to bale grazing all winter, since we were not able to do the swath grazing trial with the research team due to weedy pressures in the field. Even though these costs are higher, we are able to cover these with our grazing feed, our grazing, and our bull purchase categories. Our second point of interest is that our heifer calf income actual is way over the budgeted amount. This is due to last year's team selling majority of their heifer calves due to an impending drought. Since these calves were sold, we did not have as many bred heifers to sell, causing our bred heifer actual to be way under the budgeted amount. Please reference page 29 and 31 in the booklet for more information.
My name is Mel Sprout. I'm from Red Deer County, Alberta, and I'm this year's Bison Finance Coordinator. This year, we are pleased to announce that we have made a profit. This is in part due to the excellent sale prices. We sold our calves for $4 per pound. This resulted in total bull calf sales of $108,000 and heifer calf sales of $96,000. We also sold 21 cull cows for a total of $41,000, resulting in a total income of $244,000. Due to these high sale prices, we had a very large income variance. Our income variance, we had a 233% increase from the budgeted for our heifers, 185% increase for our culls, and 99% increase for our bulls. For our expenses, we had a total of $148,000 in expenses. This included $78,000 in hay expenses, $36,000 in grazing expenses, and $9,000 in green feed expenses. For our expense variance, we were over on hay due to the high bale prices and slightly over on grazing due to the extended grazing season. We were under on labor due to a reevaluation of labor analysis to be consistent and comparable with the other teams. We were under on our breeding bulls as we did not use our breeding bulls budget this year due to not purchasing any bulls. For our cost of production, our total cost of production was $2.91 per pound. Our return was $4.80 per pound, and our profit was $1.89 per pound. For our points of interest, our green feed was significantly over budgeted and our straw was under. This is due to feeding green feed instead of straw due to consumption issues. Our calf income was significantly higher this year than budgeted. We sold our bulls for $2 more per pound than budgeted and our heifer calves for $2.70 more than budgeted. We also processed later in the year, which resulted in heavier calves at sale. These factors together allowed for a total profit of $96,303.
I am also the public relations coordinator this year for Beef Herd. For our Instagram account, we currently have 208 followers. Not all of our views come from Canada. Some of them come from New Zealand, India, and Nigeria, which is pretty cool. And for our Facebook account, we currently have 961 followers. If you look on the graph on your right where the blue is spiked, that's where I have posted, and that's where most of our engagement comes from. For community outreach, we've done two pretty cool things. The first thing is we went to a local kindercare class, and we taught them about different farming practices, how to halter, different farm animals. They really seemed to enjoy that. The second thing we did is we went to a local elementary school, and we showed them 2 pictures of our heifers, and we asked them to pick one for Adopt a Calf, and they ended up picking that one on the right there, and they named her Billy. Community outreach is really important for us because since we are a learning institution, it's important for our team to go out into the community and educate them as well.
I am also this year's Bison Public Relations Coordinator. This year, we had a very successful year on Instagram, ending off at 281 followers. On the left is some information comparing posts, reels, and stories. Information such as this can be used to determine what to post. On the right-hand side is our most popular post. This is from when we went axe throwing for team bonding, which was quite a fun experience for the entire team. We also had a very successful year on Facebook, ending off at 261 followers. This here is our most popular post with 3,300 views. This is from when we processed our bison earlier in the year. We suspect that this is our most popular post, as it is one of the few posts where we are interacting with our own livestock.
Hello, my name is Wade Hughey. I am from Strasburg, Saskatchewan, and I am this year's Marketing and Roundup Coordinator. We sold our bison calves on February 28th through private treaty. We received an offer of $4 per pound for our calves and $2 per pound for our cull cows from Lakeland. Our 60 bulls averaged a weight of 450 pounds, sold for an average price of $1,900 per head and a total of $114,000. Our 53 heifers averaged a weight of 425 pounds, sold for an average price of $1,700 per head and a total of $90,000. Our 21 cull cows sold for an average price of $2 per pound, weighed an average of 960 pounds, sold for a price of $1,900 per head and a total of $40,000. We sold our beef calves on December 18th through Vermilion Livestock Exchange. Our 17 steers weighed an average of 630 pounds, sold for a price of $460 per centennial weight, for a total of $3,000 per head and a total of $50,000. We also sold two 500-pound heifers for a price of $415 per centennial weight, a price of $2,100 per head, and a total of $4,200 for our heifers. Our total income for the year was $54,000. The Roundup sale is an event to celebrate the SMF students' hard work for the year. We consigned a pen of 3 bred heifers to the sale that were selected for uniformity and structure. We received a price of $5,000 per head and a total of $15,000 for the lot. Thank you to Jay Sinclair for your purchase.
I would like to say a big thank you to New Holland Agriculture, Rita and Armin Muir, Ken Rossmuth, as well as everyone who's put in a private bid on our bison calves, and as well as all SMF teams, faculty, and farm staff who has helped us along this amazing year. We are now ready for your questions. Yes.
Your guys' bison grazing days are longer than industry standards, so how did this impact your already poor pasture?
The question is, our bison land, our grazing days is higher than industry standard for our bison land. How has that affected our bison land? I'll pass this off to our range and forage.
Yeah, it may have had a negative impact letting them run out there a little bit longer. One thing we were at a disadvantage last year was that all of our cross fences were broken down towards the end of the year, and so that's something we're hoping to improve that grazing distribution to improve our pasture health.
The question is, what was our reason behind selling all our bison replacement calves? I'll pass this off to Esther.
So we had a couple of reasons for selling these animals. First of all, the optimal market conditions. We really did want to take advantage of that and sell these animals. We did do a cost breakdown as well, and we did see potential in, if we purchase in future years when the market is lower, to potentially earn some money there. Another problem was also our bulls. Considering we were not replacing any bulls, we ran a risk of inbreeding as well. Does this answer your question?
The question is, within our estimated grazing costs, what's all included? I'll pass this off to our ranger and forage.
Yeah, so the estimated $17,500 grazing cost, that's a calculated opportunity cost. So if we were to rent that pasture from another landowner, that's roughly what we would pay. So we just calculate that in as an opportunity cost so we can keep track of what we would be spending. So it's calculated at $1.50 for cow-calf pairs and $3 for bulls.
Thank you, Extensive Grazing and Bison Unit. My name is Lindsay Edwards, and I'm from Fort St. John, BC. And I will be next year's Equine General Manager. We are going to take a 15-minute intermission. There is cookies and beverages in the cafeteria, which is just down the hallway to your left. Thank you. Welcome back, everyone. Please join me in welcoming this year's equine unit to the stage.
Good afternoon. My name is Maddie Jensen. I'm from Rumsey, Alberta, and I am this year's Equine Unit General Manager as well as Training Records Coordinator. Our unit consists of 12 students from across Canada with various backgrounds in both English and Western disciplines. Our vision is to produce, select, and train quality quarter horses with excellent conformation and disposition in an economically sustainable format.
Hello everyone, my name is Morgan Versteeg and I'm from Howick, Ontario. I'm this year's health coordinator. On the screen behind me is some graphs showing our herd inventory from when we started in September to where we are now in April. When our team first began in September, we had 6 broodmares, 5 weanlings, 4 started colts, and 1 spare colt. Then, throughout the year, our team had many opportunities to show and sell our animals. That brings me to our current herd inventory, which consists of 5 broodmares, as well as our spare colt being moved on to next year's colt team, and 4 colts that are in the Lakeland College name, but not yet here at the college.
Hi, I'm Mila Stute from Medicine Hat, Alberta, and I am one of this year's public relations coordinators. At the beginning of the year, we completed a SWOT analysis to better identify our strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats as a unit. The strengths we have included are the size of our unit, our diverse industry experience coming from various backgrounds, and a 100% full crop. Our weaknesses include our lack of experience in the equine industry, the lack of diversity in our broodmare herd genetics as most of our herd is related, and the number of days off our colt starters have for training. Moving on to opportunities, we chose to include our new broodmare Sally, our new advisor who lends a set of fresh eyes to our unit, and fillies on the colt team. Our threats are sales competition from more established trainers, potential market drops, and our feed quality, as feed testing showed a lack in some minerals and nutrients.
Oh, there we go. Hello, I'm Kate McMahon. I'm from St. Albert, Alberta, and I'm this year's stable manager. The short-term goals we identified at the beginning of this semester were to sell our broodmare Monica in the 2025 Roundup sale, to purchase the 2025-26 colt starting colts with quality pedigrees, conformation, and temperament, to handle our broodmares more consistently, and to set up the 2025-26 Equine SMF unit with clear roles and expectations. The long-term goals we identified at the beginning of the year were to diversify our broodmare herd through genetics, to consistently and confidently be able to rope off of our SMF colts by the Roundup sale, to increase public exposure for our unit, and to increase our unit's social media presence. We successfully completed all of these goals.
Hello, my name is Claire Taylor. I'm from Manning, Alberta, and I am the Secretary and Standard Operating Procedures Coordinator for this year's Equine SMF unit. Our unit analyzes a set of key performance indicators for each of our herds. For our colt herd, our monthly cost per horse ridden is $1,360. The industry standard is $1,200. Our costs are higher due to the high price of feed and additional unexpected veterinary expenses. Our number of horses ridden per hour is 1 horse for every 2 hours. The industry standard is 1 horse per hour. We take more time per horse because of our team's lack of experience in the colt starting industry. Our number of saleable horses as a percentage of horses purchased is 60%. The industry standard is 85%. I would like to note that though we only sold 2 of our 5 horses, The number of saleable horses remains at 60% because we are able to sell our spare filly. We just chose not to, as her profitability will be higher if we keep her for an additional year. For our broodmare and weanling herd, our conception rate is 100%, with industry standard being 75 to 80% across all breeding methods. Our number of saleable foals as a percentage of mares bred is 100%, with industry standard being 75%, and our cost per foal raised is $3,500, with industry standard being $2,800. Our costs are higher due to the high price of hay.
On the screen behind me are the benchmarks we decided for our SMF colts this year. In semester 1, this included walk, trot, lope, as well as trail obstacles and riding outside. In October, swinging ropes, dragging the log, as well as loping circles on the correct lead. And in November, working the flag, as well as roping the dummy and working cows. For semester 2, in January, our benchmarks are as follows: breakaway roping, as well as working cows consistently. In February, working on maneuvers such as spins and lead changes, and in March, pen roping as well as showcasing during the Little Royal Rodeo. We successfully completed all of these benchmarks with the exception of showcasing during the Little Royal Rodeo. Instead, we chose to showcase during the Lakeland Ranch Scramble and leave our colts in their stalls during the Little Royal Rodeo for extra exposure.
Hello, my name's Emma Hawkinson. I'm from Edmonton, Alberta, and I'm this year's feed management coordinator. This is our progress report so far for second semester. 2 of our 4 started colts were sold in our annual Roundup sale, along with 1 of our broodmares. All studs have been selected for the 2025 breeding season, and all weanlings were successfully sold via Facebook auction. And lastly, our team has been working hard to prepare binders with all of the necessary information to help prepare next year's team for their new positions.
As stable manager, I ensure that our barn stays clean with scheduled barn cleanings. I take inventory of all of our equipment, and I oversaw the first year's colt chores, which went very well. I also saw that our new barn cat pierogi got neutered.
As the Standard Operating Procedures Coordinator, it is my job to ensure that there is a clear set of guidelines for the safety, cleanliness, and health of our equine center and for the handling of our SMF horses. So far this year, I have updated the previous year's barn signs, added new barn signs, and created a checklist that is posted in the equine center for students to refer to as they are leaving. I have also worked on new SOPs to have all incoming SMF broodmares subjected to a breeding soundness evaluation prior to their purchases being finalized, and to have all veterinary medical records for horses entering either herd sent to the equine unit before we take possession of the horse.
Hello, my name is Chasey Stefanovich. I'm from Sundre, Alberta, and I'm this year's AQHA Records, Reproduction, and Breeding Management Coordinator. For AQHA Records, I transferred previously bought and sold horses in and out of the Lakeland College name. This year, we had 5 weanlings to register and then transfer, along with 2 broodmares, 3 colt starting fillies, and 2 colt starting geldings to transfer. For reproduction, I navigate the picking of stallions. This year, we picked J.A. Jessup Hickory, Firepower 4, Alma Metallic Gold, and Rockfrost Snap. These stallions will bring out the best qualities in our mares and add to that. Due to the sale of our mare Monica and Sally absorbing her foal, we will only be expecting 4 foals this spring. This year, our unit was very fortunate to have the opportunity of a donated breeding from Art Wheat and Jordan Stankovic for the stud Alma Metallic Gold, who is the son of Metallic Cat. We are very thankful and excited for this opportunity. Thank you, Art and Jordan.
Hello, my name is Samantha Bracken. I'm from Calgary, Alberta, and I am one of this year's Roundup coordinators. This year, the equine unit had 5 horses on offer at the 5th annual Roundup sale on March 22nd, 2025. 3 of these horses sold successfully. At this time, I would like to thank Marianne Jensen for her purchase of Lucy, Denny Young for his purchase of Sebastian, and Greg O'Hare for his purchase of Monica. These horses sold for a total of $21,000. Unfortunately, our unit made the difficult decision to pull 2 horses from the sale due to health concerns. Our unit is committed to producing quality horses in optimal health and condition, and sadly, these horses did not meet our standards.
During the pre-purchase exams our colts undergo before the Roundup sale, our vet found some issues with Lottie and Thumper. Thumper was found to have a severe heart murmur, giving him a 4 out of 5 on severity scale. Due to this, we have offered him to the vet tech and vet medicine programs here at Lakeland. Those students can gain valuable knowledge from his condition. The second horse we had to pull was Lottie, and this was due to her having soft tissue damage on her right front leg, as well as the vet found she had some calcifications on her right front navicular bone. Due to these issues, she has been culled from our herd due to lameness, as she does not meet our vision. On the screen behind me is a breakdown of the procedures our colts had in the second semester. All of our colts were vaccinated with flu-vac on January 14th and have 2 sets of shoes in the past semester. The first set was put on January 14th and the second set was on February 27th. All of our colts were dewormed with Equine Gold on March 10th, and as previously mentioned, all of our colts underwent a pre-purchase exam before the Roundup. Lottie and Thumper did not pass, but Sebastian and Lucy did, pushing them on to the Roundup sale. Our highest cost for our colts goes to farrier at $1,900 and for a total cost of the unit at $3,400 for this semester. For our broodmares, 5 of them have been vaccinated with pneumowort K, which is a vaccine our unit chooses to administer to help prevent abortions associated with equine herpes virus. Our newest mare, Sally, did not get this due to the fact that she is currently open. All of our mares were also dewormed with Equine Gold on March 17th. Our newest mare, Sally, was sent for a breeding soundness exam done by our vets in Lloydminster at Ware's Veterinary Hospital. Our vet found that there was nothing wrong with Sally and that she believes she'll be able to carry her next pregnancy with ease. The reason we did this was due to the fact that she absorbed her last foal, and our unit wanted to make sure that she would be ready for her next pregnancy. Our highest cost for our broodmares goes to deworming at $155 for all doses, and for a total cost of the unit at $440. Before our weanlings sold in January, they all had their hooves trimmed and were dewormed with Safeguard. The highest cost for our weanlings goes to farrier at $300 for a total cost of the unit at $400. To see all of these tables, please refer to your booklet.
Hello, my name is Emily Nielsen. I'm from Stony Plain, Alberta, and I'm one of this year's Public Relations Coordinators. As Public Relations Coordinators, it is our responsibility to gain exposure for our unit using our social media platforms. We currently have about 6,000 followers on Facebook, with a 90% increase in followers since December. On Instagram, we currently have about 600 followers, with a 7% increase since December. Our most liked post is a reel of our weanlings arriving back on campus in the fall, with about 16,000 likes on Facebook and about 140 on Instagram. Our unit was fortunate to have many opportunities this year, including our Adopt a Colt program, where our public relations coordinators got to visit a local elementary school to introduce them to SMF operations and to give them updates on their chosen horses regularly. Our unit also had the opportunity to work with Brittany at B. Martin Photography to photograph and videograph our colt starting team.
This year we chose to sell our weanlings through Facebook auction. We found this to work well, and we are glad to say that they all sold. LC Golden Cartel and LC Dash of Stardust were sold to Dick Powell. LC Steppin' in Gold was sold to Al Longjohn. LC Smokin' a Lil' Cash and LC Tivio's Got a Gun were sold to Cindy Yurkowski. All 5 weanlings sold for a total of $11,600. Thank you to our buyers.
Our colt ration this semester consisted of 20 pounds of hay, 1 pound of whole oats, 4 pounds of Hoffman's Elite, 200 grams of Hoffman's Mineral, and a cobalt salt block, costing $6.30 per head per day. Our broodmare ration consisted of 27 pounds of hay and a trace mineral salt block, costing $3.05 per head per day. And lastly, our weanling ration consisted of 6 pounds of hay and half a pound of whole oats, costing 84 cents per head per day.
Hi, I'm Marion Bond from Ottawa, Ontario, and I'm this year's Range and Forage and Roundup. Our projected grazing costs come to a total of $1,460, with approximately $860 being accumulated by the colts, who get charged a cost of $1.50 per head per day when grazing on Lakeland College pasture, whereas our broodmares get charged a flat rate of $600 when placed on the rented pasture they graze on.
Hello, I'm Emma Jensen. I'm from Three Hills, Alberta, and I'm this year's Mixed Farm Coordinator. It is important we have an equine representative within Mixed Farm to ensure that all opinions and ideas are relayed when decisions on farm are being made. Previously this year, we created a special projects team within Mixed Farm to help discuss the future use of LCP 28 located near our bison land. After going over the pros and cons of different options, we've decided to plant to a grazing blend in hopes of creating new pasture land for our cattle herds.
The Range and Forage Committee has chosen the Ranchmaster 2 seed blend by Proven Seed to plant on LCP 28. Please refer to the screen behind me for a further breakdown of the blend. We have chose this blend as it meets both the nutritional and grazing needs of our beef herds here at Lakeland College. This blend also presents to be drought tolerant, winter hardy, and has excellent spring growth for season-long grazing.
Our break-even prices include all costs related to each herd from the time that they come into our possession until they are sold. For our colt herd, our highest expense was $19,100 for the initial horse purchases. Our total herd expense was $38,200, making our break-even price per sold colt $19,100. I would like to note that had we sold 4 colts like we were intending to, our break-even price per colt would have been $9,540. For our broodmare and weanling herd, our highest expense was feed at $6,440. Our total herd cost was $17,500, making our break-even price per sold weanling $3,500. We also used this price, plus the $570 sale expense, to determine the break-even price for our broodmare Monica, who we sold in the Roundup sale. I would like to note that for both herds, other expenses refers to things like bedding, corral cleaning, tack, farm supplies, and equipment rentals. Please refer to the booklet for a further breakdown of the break-even prices. Our recommendations for next year's SMF team consists of selling the weanlings by October 31st. This is due to competition within our industry and our weanlings looking desirable at that time. Maintain and develop industry connections. This is to ensure continuous bonds and create new opportunities for the unit. Develop a mentorship program with the first-year equine students. Hopefully this bridges the gaps between the years and stops any turmoil due to lack of connections. And lastly, prioritize profitable traits when purchasing colts. These are things like fancy colors and conformation to increase profitability.
Hi, my name is Rebecca McConnell. I'm from Whitecourt, Alberta, and I'm this year's finance coordinator. The total income we received from our broodmare herd this year was $16,100. Our weanlings sold for $11,600, and our broodmare Monica sold for $4,500. The total income we received from our colt herd this year was $16,500. Sebastian sold for $6,750, and Lucy sold for $9,750. We haven't included the income from the sale of Benji, one of last year's colts, even though it appears in the booklet. This income was acquired after the April 1st financial cutoff date, however we recognize it as belonging to last year. Similarly, we've chosen to cull Lottie before the summer and would like to acknowledge this future income. At the end of last semester, we projected a total income for our broodmare herd of $21,000. Our weanlings sold for $4,900 less than the projected $16,500. However, our broodmare Monica sold for the projected $4,500. Overall, this is a $4,900 variance. We projected a total income for our colt herd of $61,250. Due to the decision to retain the extra filly purchased for this year's team for next year, we have a $7,000 variance in other horse sales. We were unable to sell 2 of our colts in the Roundup sale, and this and due to a drop in market prices, sold the other two colts for $16,500. Overall, this is a $44,750 variance. The total expenses for our broodmare herd this year were $17,400. The highest expense was feed at $4,960, followed by stud fees at $4,400. The total expenses for our colt herd this year were $14,200. The highest expense was feed at $5,200, followed by farrier at $2,460. For our broodmare herd, we were over budget by $270 in farrier, $250 in trucking, and $540 in corral cleaning. For farrier, this was due to trimming our weanlings' feet as well as our mares. A couple extra trips associated with the purchase of our new broodmare increased our trucking expenses, and for corral cleaning, this was due to cleaning out both equine pens instead of just one. The rest of our expenses came in under budget, most notably in mare care, stud fees, and vet and medical. Overall, we came in $2,600 under budget. For our colt herd, we came in $110 over budget in farrier and $540 over budget in corral cleaning. For farrier, this was due to an increase in our farrier's rate, and for corral cleaning, it was again due to cleaning out both equine pens instead of just one. The rest of our expenses came in under budget, most notably in horse purchases, bedding, and utilities. For horse purchases, we've spoken for most of next year's colts, however they have yet to be paid for. An issue on the supplier's end for our bedding resulted in the invoice coming in after the April 1st financial cutoff. And for utilities, we've adjusted how we account for this opportunity cost. In the past, it was calculated on the cost to own the facilities. However, we've switched to accounting for the cost for each colt starter to purchase an annual membership to ride in a community arena. Overall, we came in $33,900 under budget. This year, to produce a single started saleable colt, it cost us $19,100, which is $11,400 higher than it was last year. This is mainly due to a 50% reduction in our number of saleable colts. Had we been able to sell all 4 of our colts, this difference would only have been $1,900 from last year. This difference would mainly have been due to increased horse purchase costs, as well as increased farrier and corral cleaning expenses. To produce a weanling this year, it cost us $3,500. This is $1,100 higher than last year and is mainly due to increased stud fee costs, as well as increased trucking and corral cleaning expenses divided amongst 5 weanlings instead of 6. We've chosen a couple points of interest related to our unit's finances this year. The first point relates to the extra filly purchased for this year's team. We'd intended to start her this semester, however, due to a lack of colt starters, we were unable to do so. After doing a cost-benefit analysis, we determined the best option was to keep her for next year's team. Our second point relates to the extreme income variance in our colt herd from this year to last year. The projections were made using the 2024 Roundup sale average. However, a downturn in market prices meant that our 2025 sale average was lower than it had been the previous 2 years. Coupled with a 50% reduction in our number of saleable colts and the previous decision to retain the extra filly for next year, we were unable to meet our projected income. Our third point relates to mitigating this risk in our colt herd in years to come. As previously mentioned, vet checks have the potential to reduce some of the risk, however they aren't always feasible. Secondly, the size of next year's colt team is also a strength because the potential loss of a colt will reduce their number of saleable colts by a smaller percentage. And thirdly, as much as it made sense for us to retain the extra filly for next year, we recommend only purchasing replacement colts when necessary, as the return on investment is low when they're unstarted. And finally, I would like to mention that our total profit this year was $927.
We would now like to thank New Holland Agriculture, Tracy Quinton, Denise Martin, as well as farm team and faculty for their continued support throughout this year. The floor is now open for questions. I'm going to hand this to our health coordinator, Morgan.
So the pre-purchase exams that I had previously mentioned, that was right before our Roundup sale. This is just to give our buyers confidence in the horses they're buying. And the reason we don't do it before purchasing the colts is because our unit likes to purchase only halter broke colts. So for the safety of our advisors and our vets, we choose not to do it unless given a reason. As one of our horses we did check in September, our vet found nothing, and hence this is where we are. Does this answer your question?
There.
Why do you think there is such substantial growth in your Facebook followers versus Instagram?
The question is regarding our growth in our Facebook followers, but not our Instagram followers. I'm going to hand this to PR.
We believe that the growth in our Facebook followers was caused by a higher amount of quality content, as well as a majority of our buyers follow us on Facebook versus Instagram. It's a different age group, so our Facebook has a lot of older followers and people who have been following us for longer. So I believe that we just have more interest through Facebook than we do Instagram. Does this answer your question?
The question is regarding our breeding soundness evaluation exams on our broodmares for SOPs. This is going to Claire.
This new SOP was largely influenced by our broodmare Sally, who was purchased this year having absorbed her foal, which caused us not to have a foal on the ground this year, so her profitability won't be until she has a successful pregnancy. So to mitigate this in the future, I wrote a new SOP saying that all incoming broodmares are to be subjected to a breeding soundness evaluation, with the exception of mares who are currently pregnant or mares who have had 3 consecutive successful pregnancies in the past and are only open due to management decisions rather than health issues. Does this answer your question?
Okay, I'd like to thank the Equine unit for their presentation. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Blake Behrman. I grew up in a small town of Grassy Lake in southern Alberta, and I will be the general manager for the commercial unit next year. And I would like to call up the commercial unit for their presentation.
We would like to say a huge thank you for everyone coming today. My name is Victoria Pollard. I'm from Stratton, Ontario, and I'm this year's Commercial Beef General Manager. This year's team consists of 16 members, ranging all the way from Quebec to BC. Our mission statement is striving to raise quality beef through educational opportunities and hands-on experience while creating relationships within the industry. As a team, we created a SWOT analysis, some of our strengths being diversity within the team, seeing that we come from 16 different backgrounds, shared resources on campus, and data management. Our weaknesses is our open rate being above industry standard, our limited knowledge and experience as students, and the turnover of students every 8 months, making decision-making inconsistent. Some of our opportunities are marketing and connections, new technology being sponsored by New Holland, and hands-on learning.
Some of our threats are the public perception, inflation of rising costs of inputs with tariffs and politics, and the disease of being an open farm.
Hello, my name is Katie Watson. I'm from Elrose, Saskatchewan, and I'm this year's facilities coordinator. Last year's team left us recommendations to go on a pasture and calf tour in the fall, to have at least 2 current events discussions a month, for finance to create a shared file, to continue using nasal gin on our calves, and to have a herd tracks review. This year we've completed the following on the screen. We went on a pasture and calf tour in the fall. We had 2 meetings a month. We had 2 current events discussions a month, had a herd tracks review, and continued using nasal gin on our calves. Some short-term goals that we've created as a team are to weigh our calves consistently every 2 weeks, to maintain team bonding once a month, to decrease our open rate, and to maintain an average daily gain on our replacement heifers of 1.5 pounds. Some long-term goals that we have as a team are to have a 96% conception rate in our replacement heifers, to maintain our death loss at 4% or lower, to maintain and improve our genetics in the herd, and select for genetics before color, and shorten our breeding season.
Hi, my name is Nicole Wolf. I'm from Warren, Alberta, and I'm this year's mixed farm coordinator. Last June, LC45 was broadcast seeded to a perennial grazing blend of 12 different species, some of these being alfalfa, brome grass, and clover, to name a few. Unfortunately, right after it was seeded, there's a big wind, and a lot of these seeds blew away before they could establish. After this, the grazing blend was reseeded along with oats as a cover crop. In October, we got 277 green feed bales off of it. 119 of these went to the bison, and 158 of these stayed on farm. LC45 was reseeded for soil regeneration purposes as well as because it had high phosphorus levels. Behind me is a map of the college farm. After calving, our first calvers all moved to LC2 along with Purebred's first and second calvers. The rest of our cows moved to LC13. At the end of March, we brought in all of the cow-calf pairs and sorted commercial and purebred. Currently, all of our cow-calf pairs are on LC13 along with our herd bulls.
Hello, my name is Bo Franklin. I'm from Telby Lake, Alberta, and I'm this year's rain forward coordinator. On this slide is showing the 2024 grazing cost and aftermath grazing cost up to November 15th. The summer grazing cost was $26,320, and aftermath grazing was $2,426 for a total of under $29,000. This slide is showing the 2024 grazing cost, expected 2025 grazing cost, and expected 2025 dry lot ration cost and yardage. The expected 2025 summer grazing cost is what we would expect to have got or to have paid for pasture land if we had any. On that note, if anybody in the audience has 100 pasture for 100 cow-calf pairs, please contact the college. If we cannot find any, we made a dry lot ration. It is a cost of $1.73 per day and 60 cents in yardage for a cost of $2.33 per day per cow, and for a total of just under $41,000.
Hi, I'm Ty Teolis. I'm from Brome, Quebec, and I'm this year's team bonding coordinator. The purpose of my position was to plan events outside of school and SMF to ensure the team created and maintained a bond. Throughout the year, we did events such as bowling and dodgeball. Overall, we believe that these events were effective.
Hi, I'm Shane Gooley from Days on Alberta, and this year's marketing coordinator. So this year we sold 51 steers for $3.84 per pound, with an average weight of 730 pounds. 14 heifers for $3.24 per pound, with an average weight of 155 pounds. And 11 cull cows for $1.73 per pound, with an average weight of 1,430 pounds. So this year we made 3 break evens, decided when to sell our calves, and we decided to sell off the cow because we won't have to pay insurance or feed costs. There'd be no death loss, and the insurance auction mart made a deal with us that if we took them there the day before, we before the sale, we wouldn't have to pay any shrink.
Hi, my name is Riley Coleman. I'm from Lakeland, Saskatchewan, and I'm this year's reproduction coordinator. Our heifer selection started earlier this year with us culling 2 heifers due to their temperament and quality. Our final heifer selection had us gather together as a team to look at their birth weights, weaning weights, average daily gain, and their current weights. From there, we could cull a few more heifers. And then with the rest of the heifers, we could pick our replacements and our Roundup sale heifers. This year we were tasked with buying a new bull. As a team, we decided on a 2-year-old Black Angus bull. From there, we made a committee and set some requirements for the bull: 85 to 95 pound birth weight, 700 plus pound weaning weight, scrotal around 40 centimeters, and that each committee member liked the look of the bull. We went to multiple sales and ended up at Ever Black Angus, where we picked out several bulls, and we ended up getting one of the ones our committee members really liked.
Hello, my name is Wyatt Moffat. I am from Mooseman, Saskatchewan, and I am this year's nutrition coordinator as well as risk management coordinator. On the slide behind me is our lactating cow flush ration. The cows are currently on this ration as they are being bred. It is a high energy ration to help induce cycling within our herd. They started this on March 14th. For our pre-calving and lactating ration, please refer to the booklet on page 48.
Hi, my name is Hunter Schmann. I'm from Clavette, Saskatchewan, and I'm one of this year's nutrition coordinators and risk management coordinators. Our heifers started on a flush ration located behind me on the screen on March 14th. This ration contains 3 pounds of barley. This is 3 pounds of barley more than their previous ration and is higher in energy to increase the nutritional plane to promote cycling. Prior to this ration, our heifers were on a maintenance ration that is located on page 49 in the booklet. At the start of the new year, we moved our heifers to a maintenance ration because they were gaining weight too quickly and we wanted to maintain desirable breeding and sale weight. We are going to monitor if this affects our open rate. We were concerned about the transmission of disease through the red barn on busy college days such as Little Royal and Open House. We kept the boot dip in the red barn full of Virkon and water to help minimize this risk. We were also concerned about calves being laid on when they were in a pen near the red barn during a snowstorm. We made calf shelters in the corner of the pens, and we had a bad case of scours in the barn, so we sacrificed Paul's office to keep the scours contained from the rest of the calves in the barn. Paul's office was sprayed with Virkon and water once the calf was turned out again. This year we've been working hard to minimize the risk of our open rate. We've been doing this by supplying mineral, both free choice and force-fed, using a flush ration, and using more bull power than needed.
My name is Kinley Byer. I'm from Compier, Alberta, and I'm this year's herd tracks coordinator. We use gold measures to assess our herd's production. This year, for our growth rate, we ended up with a 51.2% of dams weight. This is slightly higher than industry standard, which is 43%. For the open rate of our cows that were preg checked on November 6th of 2024, they ended up with a 10% open rate. This is slightly higher than industry standard, which is 4%. For the length of calving season, we ended up at 65 days. This was from January 11th to March 17th. And the industry standard for the length of calving is 63 days. Even though ours is slightly higher than industry standard, it's an achievement because we've been lowering it throughout the years. For the death loss, we ended up with a 2.2%. This is slightly lower than industry standard, which is 4%, and due to having 2 calves die. We weaned our calves on September 23rd of 2024, ending up with our steer's average weaning weight being 728 pounds, while our heifer's average weaning weight was 686 pounds.
Hi, my name is Shelby Wellness. I'm from Spiritwood, Saskatchewan, and I'm this year's treatments coordinator. This year, we treated all of our calves with nasal gen, which proved effective as we only had to retreat 9. This year, we also gave all of our scours calves scour boluses, which was also proven effective as we only had to retreat 2 with Metacam. Unfortunately, one of those calves that we had to retreat ended up needing to be euthanized due to an incompromised immune system and frozen feet. This year, we've treated one eye infection with Metacam and unfortunately had to retreat with biomycin. We also, unfortunately, had one cow who, due to calving complications, needed a C-section. She has since recovered and has been shipped. In the fall semester, we had one case of foot rot in one of our steer calves. Unfortunately, after multiple retreats and no sign of recovery, we were finally able to ship him. For any more information, please refer to page 49 and 50 in the booklet.
Hi, my name is Brooklyn Wright. I'm from Drumheller, Alberta, and I'm this year's health coordinator. Our replacement heifers received Bovishield Gold 1-shot and Ultrabac 7 in the fall and spring, as well as Ivamec. Our mature cows and bred heifers were vaccinated with Cattle Master FP5, Ultrabac 7, and ScourGuard, as well as Ivamec in December before calving. Our calves were given Nasogen as recommended by the previous year's team. They were vaccinated in March with Bovishield Gold 1-shot and Ultrabac 7, and our steers received an implant of Raw Grow. All calves were given Ormaloxcam at branding.
My name is Shayna Benson. I'm from Winnipegosis, Manitoba, and I'm this year's Roundup coordinator. This year we held our sale on March 22nd, located here on campus. Our unit sold 4 lots of commercial replacement heifers, or 13 head, averaging $3,915 per head. On the screen behind me, you can see our averages over the last 5 years, showing this year being our highest due to the strong cattle market. We are very happy with the sale of our heifers due to the fact that they sold higher than the already strong cattle market and having a repeat buyer all the way from Nova Scotia. We'd like to thank Robert Peltzer and Kevin Smith for the purchase of our heifers, along with all the bidders and supporters.
Hello. Hi, my name is Julia McIntyre. I'm from Strathclyde, Manitoba, and I'm this year's Inventory and Current Events Coordinator. Our herd consists of 5 bulls, 94 cows, 17 heifers, and for calves this year we had 51 heifer calves and 39 steer calves. For current events, my job is to bring an event in the agriculture industry to the team monthly during meetings for discussion. The following current events were talked about. Justin Trudeau's resignation has the potential to lower input costs to us as producers due to the potential of reduced carbon taxes. DNA sampling in calves enhances herd management by improving genetic diversity, disease detection, and overall herd productivity. Manitoba beef producers passed the Act of Mandatory Brand Inspection due to the increased theft of cattle. And lastly, Canada took quick action to close the border to some German products due to the foot and mouth disease outbreak in a water buffalo herd in Germany. As of March 12th, the border still remains closed to these products.
Hello, my name is Levi Penconen. I'm from Chilliwack, BC, and I'm this year's finance coordinator. Behind me on the screen is our total income for this year, with steer sales making up 53% of it, the Roundup sale 18%, cow sales 14%, and heifer sales 12%. The rest of our income for this year was comprised of our embryo calves contract, the sale of 1 calf, and custom work. Our total income for this year was just under $278,000. Here we have what we were budgeted to make versus what we actually made. Due to the strong market this year, we exceeded our steer sales by $45,500. We doubled our Roundup sale budget, and we tripled our cow sale budget. We did not meet our bull sale budget as we did not sell a bull this year. Our highest expense this year was feed and bedding, being just over $60,000. Our second highest expense is overhead costs. This includes utilities, labor, and equipment rental. I would also like to note that the other section on the pie chart includes farm supplies, insurance, bull and livestock rental, and production and records. Our total expenses for this year was $154,000. Here we have our budgeted versus our actual for expenses. Even though feed and bedding was our highest expense this year, we were still under budget by $10,000. We were only over budget in 3 areas. In each of these areas, we were not over budget by more than $1,500. These areas include vet and medical, custom trucking, and deductions. I would also like to note that we were only halfway through our utilities budget as I calculated utilities on a per head basis. Please refer to my slide behind me instead of the numbers in the booklet for more updated numbers on cost of production. I will be comparing cost of production from this year to 2 years ago instead of last year due to inconsistent data. The cost to produce 1 pound of calf has increased by 30 cents. Due to the strong market, the return per pound of calf has also increased, and therefore our profit per pound of calf has increased by $1.02. The cost to produce a 730-pound calf, which is what we aim to wean in the fall, has increased by $310. This is directly due to increased pasture, feed, and bedding, vet and medical, and other overhead costs. Some points of interest I would like to bring to your attention is the projected budget in page 51 of the booklet. We increased steer sales by $6,000, decreased heifer sales by $3,000, and increased cull cow sales by $13,200. This is because we anticipate we anticipate a decrease in prices from this year, however, still an increase in prices from when the 2024-2025 budget was made for us. I also decreased utilities by $3,000. As I mentioned before, I'm calculating that on a per head basis. I'd also like to mention that I increased livestock purchases by $1,500 due to the strong market. Finally, if you notice on the projected budget, we were not budgeted for livestock rental, and I did not budget for it next year as it was a one-off situation where we had to rent a cow. Finally, our net profit for this year was $123,968.
Good afternoon. My name is Mackenzie Hine. I'm from Morinville, Alberta, and I'm this year's Secretary and Public Relations Coordinator. At the beginning of the year, our unit was asked to formulate 3 goals for our social media accounts. These goals consist of posting identical content across both social media platforms, utilizing Facebook as our primary platform for event postings, and planning to share 2 to 3 educational videos annually. We have successfully completed 2 out of 3 of these goals, with our educational video goal still currently ongoing. We will be recommending to next year's team to plan to share 1 educational video. For some event highlights, I'd like to point out that our public relations coordinators have successfully relaunched again this year is our annual Adopt a Calf program. This program allows kids from the local elementary school in town to adopt a calf of their choice and receive updates on it weekly for the remainder of the semester. As you can see on the screen behind me, there is a video update of one of the updates that our grade 1 and grade 3 classrooms did receive on their adopted calves, Sunny and Cherry. For some insights, I'd like to share a top performing post across both our social media platforms, being our annual Roundup sale post, welcoming all on March 22nd. As you can see, our Facebook post received just over 23,000 views, while our Instagram post received just over 11,000 views. I'd also like to point out that the time frame that both of these insights was taken was between February 22nd and March 24th. If you haven't done so already, please be sure to follow our social media accounts, Instagram at Lakeland Commercial Beef, Instagram at LC Commercial Beef Unit, and Facebook at Lakeland Commercial Beef.
Some recommendations we have come together to make for next year's team are to continue using nasal gin on the calves, as we've seen it be proven to be effective the last couple years, to have 2 meetings a week so everyone on the team is aware of what's going on, from finance to have a monthly update so everyone's aware of what's going on the budget, to write the cows number larger on the calves tags so it's easier to pair the calves, as well as we have left more recommendations in the book on page 53.
I'd like to say a huge thank you to New Holland Agriculture, Chris Lehman, Bevan Hamilton, Vermilion Livestock, Tracy Quinton, and Paul DeHoy, and everyone else who has helped us along the way. We'd now open the floor for questions. Can you repeat that question? Sorry.
How much does your consumption rate have to go up for the additional flushing of those commercial cows and the excess?
The question was, how much does our conception rate have to go up? I'll hand this to our reproduction coordinator, our our nutrition coordinator, Hunter.
I'm sorry, I do not have a definite answer for you. Can I get back to you, please?
Perhaps I misheard you, but I think you guys said that you use oral meloxicam at branding, but I see in your book you use injectable Metacam as treatment. So why are you using both?
The question was, why are we using both injectable and oral meloxicam? I'll hand this to our health coordinator, Brooklyn.
Yeah, so the oral meloxicam is just an SOP that we follow for protocol. At branding, it is used as pain mitigation for the brand. The treatments are separate and used for pain mitigation due to that specific injury. Does this answer your question? Mhm. Yeah, I am unable to answer your question at this time. I will get back to you after.
The question was asking what it costs to feed what, sorry? The winter ration that we're feeding. I'll hand this to one of our nutrition coordinators.
Our yardage cost is 60 cents per head per day, and that is not included in the feed cost on the rations. That would cover utilities, labor, equipment rental, that type of thing.
Okay, thank you very much for the commercial unit for your presentation. Here at Lakeland College, there's a lot that goes on to run this, and there's a few people that we'd like to thank today. So I'm going to go through everyone, then we'll give them a big round of applause at the end. So first off, I'd like to thank the farm staff, Chris Lehman, Debbie Maddox, Kyle Hafner, Madison Smith, Cassidy Drager, Paul DeHoy, Bailey Hullus, Jaden Kramer, and Justin Kane. Next up, we got the faculty members, Amy Stanley, Nadine Farkash, Yolette Van Niekerk, Marisa Schubel, Erica Moore, Austin Partington, Jessica Amott, Bailey Haberly, Matt Rustemeyer, and Bevan Hamilton. We'd also like to thank the marketing department of Lakeland College because it has provided guidance and assistance to market all of the units. Another thanks is the staff of the Information Technology Department, including Liam Lawrence, who ensures that the audiovisual equipment is working and facilitates the online broadcast. We'd like to thank Denise Martin and Tricia Metker for their help throughout the year. And finally, we'd like to thank the administration of Ag Sciences, Dean Tracy Quinton, Associate Dean Darla Stepanek, and Chair Brianne Bellwood. So let's give them all a big round of applause. Next up, I'd like to call Tracy Quinton, the Dean of Agricultural Sciences, for a few remarks.
Perfect, thank you. I don't know that there's a lot to say after that. Just congratulations to the second year animal science group again. Just a round of applause. Good job, excellent. It's pretty intimidating standing up here. I know there's some questions that you're going to have to answer after to some of the industry there. Really appreciate the industry coming out and supporting this. As if you look around, you'll see lots of support for the animal science program. We appreciate you coming out and supporting and listening to the students. It's what makes this super valuable for them in that learning experience, even though they may not appreciate it at this moment. They will in the future for sure. And I just want to also acknowledge that we really appreciate the senior leadership, the president and the vice presidents of the college that help support this program as well. It's as you can see, it doesn't always work according to theory, which is life in agriculture. It's generally not according to theory. So there are instances where we have open rates, we have bulls that don't perform, we have horses that get pulled, all of those types of things which are real life and are real valuable educational situations that students learn from. And so I just want to just make sure we appreciate and show our appreciation for our leadership that allows us to facilitate this student managed farm. So thank you to them. And again, congratulations. You can breathe easy tonight. Remember, you still have school tomorrow, so and final exams are coming up. But take some time and appreciate all the things that you've accomplished today. And we'll see you tomorrow, hopefully.